This radio business, it's a magnificent profession, but it's full of plagiarists and people, pretenders. Now, I want to do something right now. I'll prove my point, but it's really a secondary point. I want to play for you 17 seconds of audio that Mr. Producer pulled off of the news service. So we are the first to play this audio, to focus on this audio, to make this audio available. You will no doubt hear it all day long tomorrow, if not later tonight, without any attribution whatsoever. Just keep that in mind when I tell you the kind of people I have to deal with from time to time here. But I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing it out so you're informed. But now to the substance. Listen to what Obama just said at an Organizing for Action event in D.C. today. Remember, this is his crowd. This is his army of hacks and sycophants and fanatics that he unleashes on America. Just a little bit ago, at an Organizing for Action event in Washington, D.C., source, The Mark Levin Show, cut 14, go.
Now, if you have or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law, and you really liked that plan, what we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law was passed.
If it hasn't changed since the law passed. Gee, the dozens and dozens of times he said you can keep your plan if you like it. I don't remember that. Can we hear that again, Mr. Producer? Because the way I would title this is Obama lies about his lies. Go ahead, hit it.
Now, if you have or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law, and you really liked that plan, what we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law was passed.
If it hasn't changed since the law passed. Mr. Producer, just give us 3 examples of him lying, because he didn't say that. Go ahead.
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it. If you don't have insurance, you'll finally be able to afford insurance. And everyone will have the security and stability that's missing today.
If you like your current insurance, you will keep your current insurance. No government takeover. Nobody's changing what you've got if you're happy with it.
This is why the people in Virginia better wake the hell up and tomorrow vote, and vote for the guy who fought Obamacare and fought this lie. That would be Cuccinelli. And defeat the guy who's going to perpetuate this miserable fraud, and that would be McCullough. Did you hear Obama? Boy, can he lie. By the way, more on the breaking news. So Obama, today, he gets in front of his army of hacks and fanatics. You know what this reminds me of? It's like in these totalitarian regimes, communist regimes, whatever they are, they rewrite the history books. They take information out. They put new information in. I feel like that's what we're living through with this Obama. Wait a minute. Didn't I hear him say like 4 billion times, if you have your insurance, you like your insurance, you have your doctor, you like your doctor, you keep your... Yes, it's to the point where aren't you sick of hearing those clips? Yes, we all are. But today, he's just a little while ago, because we caught it. We're the source of this. Today, he lied. Today, he wants you to believe he never said all those things he said. He changed it. And we have it. It's called clip number 14, and I've named this Obama Lies About His Lies. Go.
Now, if you have or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law, and you really liked that plan, what we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law was passed.
Okay. If anybody can tell me when he said that in that way during the campaign, I'll give you $1,000. If it's not legal, I won't give you $1,000. I'll give you some free government cheese. One more time, and then I want you to play. And we're not going to overdo this. I'll leave that to the other hosts who will. 2 or 3 clips where he says what he meant during the campaign. Cut 14, go.
Now, if you have or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law, and you really liked that plan, what we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law was passed.
Liar, liar, liar. Listen to this. Go.
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it. If you don't have insurance, you'll finally be able to afford insurance. and everyone will have the security and stability that's missing today.
Stop. You see, the implication is exactly the opposite of what he's saying today. What he wanted you to believe, because he flat out said it without equivocation and put an exclamation mark on it, which is what he meant by the word period, was if you have insurance today and you like it, when we pass the law, you'll get to keep it. Otherwise, why even say it? It doesn't matter. He was trying to get you to believe that Obamacare wouldn't threaten your relationship with your doctor or the insurance that you have and actually like. That's what he was doing, and he was concealing it from you. So to say now he said that if it hasn't changed since the law passed, completely changes the message. All of us, certainly I, would have been on top of that. Boom! What are you talking about if it hasn't been changed since the law passed? Then everybody would be going to the law, seeing if it's changed, and they would say, and what he didn't want you to do is go to the law and see if it's been changed. Because that's exactly why he said, if you have your policy and you like it, you'll get to keep it, period. So don't bother. And now it's, if it hasn't changed since the law passed. I asked you people who voted for this man, are you sorry now? Nah, half of you could give a damn. Colder personality. Hey, what are you talking about? Hey, give it a chance. We are giving it a chance. It's killing us. Give the American people a chance. Waiver after waiver, benefiting his buddies. And keep in mind, wasn't that long ago when on the floor of the Senate, a young senator spoke up for over 21 hours, a young senator from Texas, and he wanted to tie this Obamacare to the only thing Congress could tie it to, the purse strings. And he wanted to fight it out right there before October 1 when this kicked in, because he said it would be a disaster. He said we need to have this fight right now, right here, because there's no other way, there's no other time. And he knew what the consequences of this law would be, as all of us did. He wasn't splitting hairs. He wasn't playing politics. He wasn't positioning himself. This wasn't about building lists. He took to the floor, and one of the most honest acts we've seen from a politician in decades, and he took it on. He took on his own damn party. He took on the media. He took on the Democrats and the president. And despite hit after hit after hit, public attacks, slimeball behind-the-scenes attacks, pressure from his own caucus, he kept saying, we have to draw the line on Obamacare. We must not fund this abomination. And now look at the misery. And I'm going to go so far as to tell you it was a Churchillian moment. Same with Mike Lee and a handful of others. But because Cruz went out there for over 21 hours, he takes the brunt of it. Now, the Republican Party establishment wants you to dismiss Cruz as incapable of being anything beyond what he is today, and he probably shouldn't even be there. He stood up for you. The Republican establishment, except my buddy Ed, has done everything they can to cut off Cuccinelli at the knees, despite the fact that he brought the first successful case against Obamacare. This is why I've told you for weeks and weeks and weeks, do you really believe that if the Republicans take control of Washington under the likes of a Christie and a McConnell and a Boehner, that they're going to pull this damn law up from the roots? No way. Christie's busy implementing it in New Jersey. McConnell's busy threatening a communication company that does business with a group that supports his opponent, threatening them that they're not going to receive 1 penny in Republican money. Do you know his operative? I talked about this last week. The National Republican Senatorial Committee and others, they're calling around. They're trying to put this company out of business. They're trying to bankrupt it. They're threatening everybody. Don't do business with them because they're helping raise funds for my opponent. This is what they're good at. Do you really think McConnell, who didn't say a damn thing, is going to take on Obamacare 3, 4, 5 years in? I'm going to prove to you that he won't. I'm going to prove to you that none of these people will. I want you to hear Mitt Romney. Cut 10, Mr. Producer. Mitt Romney, who speaks for these people. Mitt Romney, who's admired by these. I admire him as a decent human being, but I'm not talking about that. He's not like Terry McAuliffe, who's the sleaze of the sleaze. No, Mitt Romney is a very decent human being, a very good man. But he's a liberal Republican from a liberal state, quite frankly, as Christie mostly is. Just the way, folks, it's just the way it is. Don't attack me. I'm not responsible for it. But here was Mitt Romney's plan. And as much as we've been criticizing Obama, and he deserves it and a million times more, because he's given up his trust. He's in a public trust, and now the trust part is gone. He's just public. But when I heard what Mitt Romney said on Meet the Depressed, my jaw hit the ground. Not that I didn't expect him to do something like this, but that he flat out says it, and he hid it from us too. What did he hide from us? David Gregory, cut 10 to Mitt Romney. Go.
How would you have dealt with Obamacare had you become president?
Well, I'm not president, so I can't be so clear-minded as to tell you what I would have done. But my own plan was to say to each state, you've got a requirement to move to a point where all your people are insured and where you cover pre-existing conditions. We're going to give you flexibility from the federal government level to help you be able to do so.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? You've got a requirement. States, elected state legislatures, elected governors, from the president. You've got a requirement from me, I should add, to move to a point where all your people are insured and where you cover pre-existing conditions. But we're going to give you flexibility from the federal government level to help you be able to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has never understood federalism. And as great as he was at acquiring wealth and securing wealth for himself, he's never understood capitalism and competition. This is a bombshell. He never told us this, Romney. Romney never told any of us. You've got a requirement to move to a point, to the states, where all your people are insured and where you cover pre-existing conditions. We're going to give you flexibility. The states don't have power given to them from the federal government. The states have power independent of the federal government under the Constitution. And let me ask you this, even if you buy off on all this pablum, where would they draw the line? The minute a Democrat would become president, or a Christie for that matter, do you think they're going to draw the line at, we're not going to tell you anything beyond pre-existing conditions? No, they're going to own the states. And the Supreme Court will uphold it. This is the guy, the only guy who could win, who's lost. And this was his grand proposal, where the federal government would require the states to do A, B, C, but we will give them the flexibility to do it their way. Holy mackerel. Am I the only one who caught this? I don't know. But it's absolutely stunning to me. That's what I call a big government Republican, a neo-statist. He's not thinking federalism. He's not thinking state authority. Everybody's going to have this. Everybody's going to have, but I'll give them the flexibility to. What are you talking about? The Constitution gives them the power, not you. What was to be the future of the Republican Party, and some of these operatives still want to be the future of the Republican Party. Folks, I call them as I see them. We've reached a point in our country's circumstance where you just can't candy coat this stuff anymore. You just can't dress it up. I know people try and walk a fine line. They have social friends in and out and stuff. I just keep all that separate from me. So here's Romney on Meet the Press. This is depressing on Sunday. What he planned is nothing he's said before. Cut 10, go.
How would you have dealt with Obamacare had you become president?
Well, I'm not president, so I can't be so clear-minded as to tell you what I would have done. But my own plan was to say to each state, you've got a requirement to move to a point where all your people are insured and where you cover pre-existing conditions. We're going to give you flexibility from the federal government level to help you be able to do so.
This reminds me of Bush saying something like, and I'm not getting it right, but I don't have time to look it up, that, we have to destroy the free market to save the free market, or something absolutely absurd. These people are just not committed to basic, fundamental principles. This isn't about purity. Do you embrace free market capitalism? I mean, apart from yourself, do you embrace it for the nation? Do you embrace it as a concept? Is it a good thing? Then you fight for it. If you believe it promotes liberty and prosperity and competition and, yes, good health and safety, you fight for it. You don't bite 60, 50, 40% off of what the radical left is pushing, which is unsustainable, which is damaging. I mean, this isn't a market system. It's not even a constitutional system. And yet this is what, honestly, folks, if Obamacare is the biggest thing that concerns you right now, and it is for many of us, along with illegal immigration and a host of other things, but Obamacare is front and forward. It's rolling right now. We have a governor in New Jersey who's implemented it at breakneck speed and never fought it, wouldn't even sign a brief against it. We have a Republican nominee the last time around who's saying some gibberish that sounds not exactly like it, but bad enough.